Quick story time. So one day when I was getting into an Uber, I noticed there were some leaflets for a well-known mega church that this guy who I used to date actually attends. Don't ask. So anywho, I used it as an opportunity to basically get a bit of perspective on this particular organization. I'm Rachel Rain, cult survivor, speaker, and founder of Surviving Universal UK. For 7 years, I was the victim of a church cult right here in London. But 4 years ago, I started speaking out. The rest is history. Let's speak on it. Don't forget to subscribe. Because I suspected from my expertise that it most definitely is a church cult. I mean, they literally had all of the signs, all of the kind of benchmarks that would make it a perfect candidate to be a church cult. So, anywho, I struck up a conversation with the Uber driver and I let him know that actually a friend of mine attends the same church he does. I mentioned the pastor's name and immediately his face lit up. And it was the weirdest thing because you would think that he won the lottery or something, not because I was familiar with Christ or Christianity, but because I knew about his particular brand of church. So immediately that was like, yep, that's my first red flag of the day. One thing I know about church cults is that they fiercely defend their leader, fiercely, blindly so, to the point where even though their leader is living a luxurious life when members are, impoverished or people in general, me personally, I don't subscribe to the prosperity preaching ideology that religious leaders are supposed to be a reflection of Jesus. Therefore, they're meant to be wearing the best clothes, eating the best food, living in the best places. I don't think so because from what I know of the Bible, Jesus literally sat and ate and lived with the commoners. And before long, he was justifying why his pastor wears expensive designer suits, why he has flashy cars. And he even went as far as to say if Jesus was here today, Jesus would also be driving a Bentley and be wearing designer suits. I just let him go on and on. I mean, I tried to reason with him. He didn't know who he was talking to. My takeaway was this: if someone is more obsessed with their church brand than they are about God, it's a major red flag. I mean, I'm just saying. Yesterday, I was talking to my good friend Robin, hold tight, Robin, and she was saying how that's the issue with idolizing your church. And she used a very, very clever example. And she was like, if someone was to come and, say blasphemous things or question God and say, God's not real, he doesn't exist, re-te-te, cult members would generally not be as reactive than if someone was to come and say, the church you're going to is not a true church. They destroy lives. They scam people. That is going to be so much more of a trigger for them. Why? When they're claiming to, be loyal to a church, but yet they wouldn't really mind if people are skeptical or have critique about God. I mean, why is that? Because their whole ideology is wrapped up in the church. So when you hold the church to account or critique the church, they take that as a direct insult and they make it feel like it's blasphemy. And it's facts. If you were to go to a cult member and, put out all of these negative things about God directly and say he's not real, he's this, he's that, oftentimes they'll probably just shrug and walk away. But you bring into question their church or place of worship, oh, those are fighting words. And that's the difference between a church or cult.